Alright, welcome back there, my friends. JJ with you once again. We got some hot topics coming up, just to let you know. The AMD Ryzen 7000 is barely out, but next Gen 5 Zen CPUs are already spotted. So basically what they're saying is that Ryzen 7000 hasn't been out for not too long. Well, we know that. It's only been out for like maybe a week or two. But they're spotting Ryzen 8000s. Whoa. So maybe they're going to come out with something before the next year. Maybe they're going to bump it up one more scale. Maybe they're trying to keep up with Intel. You never know. So stick around and we'll get, as soon as we get more on this Ryzen 8000 bump up, we'll find out and we'll let you know. So stick around for that. On the other news, the United States stops Nvidia and AMD from selling AI chips to China and Russia. Looks like they say U.S. officials have discovered Nvidia and AMD to stop selling their high-performance AI-focused GPUs to China and Russia without a license. Whoa, this is getting hot. The restriction is designed to prevent the U.S. company's high-end hardware from being used or diverted to the military users in China and Russia. Nvidia says the requirements could hinder its development of the H100 server accelerator and its ability to support the existing A100 customers. Well, you know, what are you going to expect? I mean, the United States is trying to protect their technology, even though that, they created the technology, they consider it a U.S.-based technology. And then you want to give it to, like, China and everything else, and what they do is they'll copy it, and, they'll redistribute it, and guess what? They'll flood the market, and then everybody here at home will get garbage. This is how we come into the GPU garbage. I've already had my hands on a couple of the GPU garbages, from China. And I'll tell you what, it's not impressive, especially when you got people that want the real thing. They don't want copies or misprints or anything else. It's just people that's taking this technology, making it their own, and then boom, they're just making more of the technology, and guess what happens? Everybody loses. The consumer loses because they got to pay an astronomical price for garbage. This is a revolving kind of thing. So, CPU and GPU and motherboard and everything to deal with the PC, the manufacturers should say, well, if we're right here in the United States, let's keep it, the technology here, and let's try to do our best to sell all the technology we can. You got almost, billions of people here, and you can't sell your technology here? Well, maybe that means you need to lower the price, and that means in order to do that, you need to find a better way to, just like Elon Musk, to take that technology and put it for a better use and come up with better ways to make your technology cheaper. But anyway, on to the next news, shall we? Alrighty, AMD just officially set and planned the AMD RDNA 3, the RDNA 3 November 3rd. And it looks like they're planning to launch the RDNA 3 architecture November 3rd, 2022. So, Scott Helkman, the Senior Vice President and General Manager of AMD's Radeon Division, confirmed the imminent launch in a Twitter post with the save the date image attached. Join us November 3rd as we launch RDNA 3, the world's what they're saying is they're launching it to the world. More to come. So that's going to be another stick around and stay tuned kind of thing, like they did with the 7000 series CPUs. Now they got the 7000 series GPUs. We'll have to stick around and wait and see what comes up with that. So, but as far as, everything else, what they're claiming is they're doubling down on the RDNA 3, delivering a 50% performance per watt uplift over the RDNA 2. The next generation GPUs are manufactured on a 5 nanometer node and boast as a re-architected compute unit. So, advanced chiplet packaging, next generation Infinity cache, and the optimized graphic pipeline, AMD says. Beyond those tidbits, the details, they're not in decent supply, so you gotta wait for the details. But unofficially, the RDNA 3 could be poised to hit the sky high clock speeds. As far as what's in the Twitter post yesterday, prominent leaker tested the RX 7000 series almost at 4 gigahertz. Thought they didn't elaborate, but it's rumored that Nvidia's GeForce 4090 will have a default of 450 watts TGP. Wow. And a configurable bias TGP of 660 watts. For added performance. It's within the realm of or I could say responsibility, but they say possibility that AMD could offer some similar to hit a 4 gigahertz clock. Me, I'd take it with a grain of salt, but anyway. It's also rumored that the flagship Radeon RX 7900 XT will feature 24 gigs of GDR6 RAM running at 20 gigabytes per second at a 384-bit bus. So it would be amount to a generous 960 gigabits per second of memory bandwidth. But, on other news, it looks like it's getting good. So that means it looks like manufacturers of your CPUs and GPUs are getting ready to fight it on for the Christmas blowout. So that basically they can jack up the prices all the way till Christmas, and then everybody buys at Christmas, and guess what happens? Y'all lose, because then you'll turn around and pay less price when it comes January. They do this every time. As long as I've known it, they do this every time. When it comes to, they bring things up around the holiday, they jack up the prices so they can pocket some in their put some money in their pocket, and then turn around at the beginning of the year, start doing sale, like Black Friday sales and stuff like that, and just keep hammering the sales in the beginning of the year. And then the middle of the year, they'll phase it out, and then they'll go to something new. It happens every year. People just don't see it. They look over it. They don't get what happens with that. But let's keep going with the news. Alright, on the Intel side of the thing, Intel side of the news, we got Intel 13th Gen Raptor Lake processors bringing more cores, more connectivity, a revamped core architecture, supports up to PCIe 5.0 SSD, and an officially verified 6 gigahertz peak boost core clock to bear. Well, that's going to be awesome as soon as they bring it out, which I know they're going to be bringing it out. They got their APU line, or their discrete graphics cards coming up too, so stick around for all that. But further the news, Intel claims that the Raptor Lake will have 15% gain to single thread performance and 41% gain to multi-thread compared to the Alder Lake, and overall 40% performing scaling. Now I want you to stop and listen to that for a minute. They compare it to their own, okay, that it's going to have more, and then the people that's already bought their past processors are looking at it and saying, well, we just bought this, and now you're giving us this. I want you to think about that very carefully. You've already bought a processor, but is that the really big reason they want to keep pushing more and more on the CPU? Which they got to understand, if you have an up-to-date 4th gen CPU, you could still run a high-end graphics card without having to worry about the bottlenecking. Okay, now some people say that the Ryzen 5 5600 run with the 3080, was it 3080 Ti or 3090 Ti, says there's less a chance of bottlenecking. Or running it with the Radeon RX 6600, or I think it's RX, but don't quote me on it, but I know you will. But the 6600 version for AMD will run well with the Ryzen 5 series. Okay, now when it comes to, like, you know, your higher end GPUs, why can't they run just as good? You have automatic rebar on the B450 motherboards and up. You have rebar built into the BIOS. I know it for a fact, and I don't care what anybody says. You can come to me and ask me this question over an email. I'll tell you and show you a picture of my BIOS, and it says rebar. So I can set rebar on mine, and I could use a discrete graphics card with mine all the way up to the newest graphics cards that are coming out. So I don't see the reason why I have to take and turn around and go buy a new motherboard and everything else, when the only thing I got to change maybe would be probably the power supply, and that's pretty much it for the new connection, for the new connections on the discrete graphics card. So if the 4090 does come out, I bet you any money I can run the 4090 in my system, even if I have the Ryzen 5 5600G, but it's multimedia based and it has rebar and everything else. It can run the ARC, it can run all that, and it's a low-end CPU. You know, I paid $153 for that CPU since I've had it for about 2 months. I want to get 2 years out of it. So look at it that way. And if I got to go as far as getting another motherboard, like an $83 motherboard, and go up to the B550, well then so be it. But I don't see the reason for me to go to the B550 when I got the B450 right in front of me. So I should be, since I don't have a graphics card yet, I guarantee I can plug any graphics card I want into my system and it will run. Since my power supply will handle up to 900 watts, so maybe I need to get a 1200 watt one just in case and get the 4050 or the new 7000 line, or I'm waiting to see what they bring out. I really want to put that in my hands and test it out and see what they got. But anyway, on with the news. With the other news on the motherboard side, the DDR5 motherboards look like the prices are over $200+. Everybody was wondering what they were going to do, if they were going to give us the prices of the $125 B-based motherboards, but they're not going to do it. As far as we know for now, that the motherboard prices are sticking up around $200 or better. So, but in another video that I'm going to be having coming up tomorrow, is going to be about pricing the most expensive motherboard that's out there, and basically building the whole system from the ground up, high end, and how much it's actually going to cost you high end if you build it yourself. That's not including the software for it, that's not including anything, it's just the hardware parts only. So do stick around for that. But this is going to conclude the news hot topics for today. So you all take care and have a blessed day, and keep smiling, because you never know. Technical news with hardware could go up and then it could just drop like a fly. But anyway, y'all have a good one, and we'll see you on the next time.